All right, so Panthers just had the press conference to introduce Paul Maurice as head coach. Watched the whole thing, watched it again, figured I'd give my thoughts on it since in yesterday's video, and even up to now I've kind of been like, I'm not so sure. Not bad, not good, just not so sure. So, a couple of things. Zito gave him a short little introduction, and then Maurice started talking with the normal thank you everybody and how excited he is. We've heard this about Zito before, that basically within 5 minutes of talking with Bill Zito, that Maurice was like, I'm ready, let's do this, So that's good. Also would like to mention that if I didn't know Larry Hagman was dead, I would think that was Larry Hagman at about age 60 years old. He looks just like him, my opinion. So, couple of things I wanted to touch on. First of all, they asked him, a couple people talked to him about why he quit Winnipeg. And it kind of goes to show how, on social media especially, we just assume, well, he quit on, I've seen people say he quit on his team. What he explained was actually pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Responsible, mature. I like it. What he explained was that, long story short, he could kind of tell over the summer, and he knew that he had lost the team. He knew that they needed a new voice. He knew that, Winnipeg had been making the playoffs, right? And he'd been pushing the buttons and pushing the buttons and pushing the buttons. And the way he described it was, when you first push the button, you get a response. And then the more times you have to push that button, it gets, the response gets less and less and less. And he just, over the summer, started to feel, and then into the season, started to feel like the team deserved a new voice, is how he said it. And he felt like they were ready to take the next step, but they needed a new voice to get them over that hump. So, It was actually more about his love of the game, why he quit, because for him, he knew at that point he was not helping. He was actually hurting the team. So that's why he left. That's his explanation. And then, of course, they asked him a little bit about, how are we going to, are we going to change the offense, right? Or how are we going to change things? What's the next step? And he was very specific to talk about multiple times how you don't want to change the offensive structure too much. Okay, you're not going to see a lot of changes to the offense. I think that was his exact quote. What he is interested in, and I love it, is play when we don't have the puck. The play when we don't have the puck. That was one of the things. So what's he alluding to there? Block shots, okay, the things that we see Tampa and Colorado doing, right? There's more to it in the playoffs than scoring goals, and he talked about that. He specifically mentioned how, yes, you can have your certain way that you play in the regular season, that's great, but you also have to have practiced and gotten down a different part to your game to where you're 5 men working as a unit together in a repetitive way over and over and over again, so that when you get to the playoffs, the running gun style isn't going to work. Scoring off of the rush, you're not going to win a lot of series that way. You've got to be able to play a different style of hockey. And that's what his focus is on. He's not here, as he put it, he just wants to add to what we already have. So I like it. I like that. Another thing he talked about was playing smart hockey and practicing in the games playing smart hockey. So he alluded to, hey, look, if you make a cross-ice pass in a tight game, maybe during the regular season you can overcome that by scoring goals, but in the playoffs you can't. So you have to practice and every day talk about going back and watching film and talking about, was this the right play? Was this the right play? Should you have made this pass? What else could you have done with the puck? So from those 2 points of view, I like what I've heard. I definitely like what I'm hearing. Now, I know you look at his coaching record and you say, how come he hasn't won yet? I will tell you this. He talks like a guy who's won a cup. He doesn't lack the confidence, that's for sure. And the way you sounded to me, I'm certain, let's put it this way. I like the move a lot more now. I definitely, if you watch the press conference that this man just gave, and you compare it to Brunette saying, well, hey, look, I'm just grateful to have the job, and I'm learning on the job as I go. There's just apples and kumquats, not even oranges, okay? It's just two different planets. No disrespect for Bruno. And the more that you watch the playoffs go on, Toronto gave Tampa all they could take. The Rangers gave Tampa all they could take. Colorado is fixing to beat Tampa, and Tampa whooped us in 4 games, and it wasn't as close as the score was. So we were outcoached. We were outplayed, and it's on the players as well, but there's no way around it. We were outcoached because we did not have what Maurice is talking about. We had nothing else to go to. So when we're talking about Brunette didn't make the adjustments, I don't necessarily know. I don't think there was any adjustments we could go to, and that's kind of what Maurice is alluding to. Is like, you can have your style during a regular season, it's great and it works, but you have to practice and play that secondary style. You have to work during practice and during games and get used to playing a playoff style and know that when the playoffs come, you've experienced that type of play before, where you're not just taking advantage of your speed and being on the rush. Now, that said, Bill Zito had a couple of interesting comments which kind of go along with what I've been saying and a few people have been saying. He spoke of challenges a couple of times, and his eyes get real big sometimes. And when he said this year, he was basically like, we're going to have some challenges this season, okay? So you could tell, man, he is, not that he's not enjoying his job right now, but he is sweating right now, okay? Because, we all know the rumors about Bobrovsky. We don't know what we're going to do with Weegar. Spencer Knight needs a contract. Huberdeau needs a contract. Mammon, Marchment, Lusteran. I mean, it's impossible. It's impossible. We're not signing everybody. So I'll say here what I've been saying on the stream. Count on it. Count on at least 2 moves. Count on at least 2 moves coming where the fan base is saying, what? Where nobody's happy. It's a product of still clearing out some of his stupid cat moves that we had. All right? I love Hornquist. I love him to death, but we took on his salary to get rid of Matheson. Okay? Let's just call it what it was. It's worked out, but it's still a big salary for a 4th-line player. Okay? And then we have this Yandel hit. And the Yandel hit is happening at the worst possible time. And Bobrovsky's value is never going to be higher. And I'm not a fan, by the way. I've heard the talk about we're willing to eat 50% of it. I don't like that. I'd rather throw in a player and eat 30%, but that's just me. And I didn't even mention Giroux or Sherrod. So Zito definitely alluded to there being a lot of challenges ahead, and he felt like because of those challenges, Maurice would be the guy. Actually, the way he put it was the more that he thought of the challenges that were ahead, we needed an experienced guy. And then that's when they decided, okay, we're going to start talking to some of these other coaches. So what that says to me is adjustments, especially to maybe some different personnel, some new personnel, different skill sets. Okay, that's going to happen. That's going to need to come. And when Zito said we are going to have, I mean, his eyes got big as saucers. We're going to have some challenges this season. When he said that, it's like if my mind was reading his, all I could hear him thinking was, we're about to give the net to Spencer Knight. And I don't really know how that's going to go. It just hit me like a wave. When he said that, he may as well have said, you know, we're going to basically have a kind of a half rookie goaltender next year, so we're going to have some challenges. That was what I got from that. So I have a feeling the stuff we're hearing about Bobrovsky is true. Stu made a joke this morning. I mean, as long as we're only going to be given $5 million and $5 million, Tampa Bay needs a backup for Vasilevsky. The idea there being, you know, if Bobrovsky's wife doesn't want to leave Florida, maybe she won't have to. That's terrible. It's terrible to think about that, right? I don't think Tampa has the cap space for it. But I bet you Tampa would be on his list. Like, I'd be back up and I get a cup. Okay, good. Right? All right. So I just want to keep this short, but I'm going to have some more content later on this evening with a group of fans talking about the coaching change. But I didn't really know how I felt about it yesterday. Now that I'm looking at it now and listening to Maurice talk, I'm impressed. I'm not going to lie. I like what he's saying because he's not coming in and, I mean, he's saying the right things, but the really right things. It's not like the cliche stuff like a normal coach would come in. He sees exactly what we need. We need to play smarter, and we need to learn how to play playoff hockey without screwing up the offense, and play smarter and better and stronger without the puck. That is exactly it. That is exactly what we need. So for him to give that speech, for him to give those answers, I like it. I definitely feel better about it now because, you know, he's just paper for most of us. How many Winnipeg Jets games have you guys watched, right? So we look at the record, we see 24 years, no cups, one championship, you know, one conference championship, and you go, what's up with this guy? But look, everybody loses until they wins. Until they win. Everybody loses until they win. Jeez, talk, Jaws. Good Lord. Everybody loses until they win, right? I think it could work. I think it's a group of guys that can't quite figure out how to get over the hump with a coach that can't quite have figured it out how to get the players over the hump, and maybe you put that mixture together. I like it. I like it. You know, no disrespect to Brunette, and we still don't know what's going to happen to him. There's a lot of talk there about he wasn't even sure if he wanted to be the coach. So Zito said nothing about Brunette. So I think Andrew is just taking his time, trying to sort through what he wants to do. I can't imagine what position they've offered him, but they've offered him something. And the one thing about the Panthers, tight lips. Nothing leaks. Nothing leaks out of Florida unless they want it to. So, all right. Appreciate all the support. I will be back later on this evening. Like I said, I've got a good group of Panther fans tonight. We're going to be hashing it out on the Zoom, right? I got varying opinions, so that's going to be fun. I'm just going to sit back and watch. Literally, I'm just going to sit back and let everybody have their say. It's going to be beautiful. I'm trying to put together a second group to do that also as well on Saturday, since I have a feeling tomorrow's the last game. Pretty sure. If Tampa wins tomorrow, like I said, I would do that recap naked because it's just, I mean, they've risen from the dead before, but they look pretty gassed. Tampa looks pretty gassed. All right. I'll see you guys later on tonight.